Hey friends, it's Joe from DadBod. Today we got a 2.5 mile recovery run. It's like 37 degrees Fahrenheit or 0.6 degrees Celsius in Tokyo, so it's a little brisk. Probably gonna wear some gloves, but let me pop you on my head and we'll get to work. I'm not ready for this. Alright, here we go. It's about 5:45 in the morning. So a nice start to our day. Let me grab my gloves, turn on YouTube. But I haven't been live in a while, friends. I've been focused. I've been working across time zones, connecting with folks because I'm looking for a new job. Hopefully still in Japan. We'll see how things pan out. And let me get my run tracker going. Ooh, brisk today. But yeah, I missed 2 workouts. Uh-oh. So I missed those because I was working weird time zones and stuff. And it's so funny, like when that happens, me like glued myself for my own personal fitness journey. I'm like, oh, I missed 2 days. No, I can't run at all. Now I'll never achieve blah, 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 blah. And I start getting in these weird spaces. And I'm like, shut up. Walking myself backwards. That toxic thought life. So we're gonna start off walking and then see if we could trottle. Let me get my chat set up. All right. That doesn't look right. Also, I broke my phone. It's the bottom of the screen broke. So it will impact my ability to know what. Whew. But yeah, I haven't made any YouTube videos in like 2 weeks. Haven't put anything up. Very sporadic with lives. Like all of my lift days, I've been doing grad school video lectures while lifting because one more thing, I gotta set up my, come on phone, dang it. There we go. It's too chilly for all this crap. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And then over the last 2 weeks, I've been making what I call a virtual portfolio, which is super cool, super helpful, and honestly I think it might be one of my next YouTube videos that I make for the channel. Okay. Whew. Cold fingers, gotta warm things up. Gotta squeeze my hand. First time running in 4 days. Gotta tell myself I still know how to run. It's so funny, man. My headspace can get so screwed up. You know where it gets screwed up the most? When you like break a streak. Streaks are great because they can create like a psychological need to keep going. Right, I'm on like day 242 or 43 of my fitness journey. Right? But across all that, like, there's a week and a half off of COVID. Well, the last 2 days, my fitness turned into a tiny bit of biking. That's it. No lifts. Like, you can get caught into like this need to not break the streak, and sometimes that could be a good healthy motivation, but then on the day when life happens and you miss something, starting your streak at 0. That's really hard. So then you miss day 2. Is like holistically, gotta slow down my pace. Forgot how running works. But holistically, my fitness journey started on day 1 of DadBod, when I started recording a 16-week half marathon training program. Like, I'd worked out prior to that, I'd run half marathons prior to that, had, you know, the fitness achievements that made sense for me. But what I like about it is it anchors a 0 point of my personal journey and progress. And it's the first time like my journey is recorded and fully visible. Reason being, let's say I get really good at running. Let's say I get super fit. Yeah. I wouldn't want someone to join this channel, see super fit Joe, and then decide, you know what? Let me give that DadBod half marathon training program a go, and immediately compare themselves to where I landed and expect that kind of result in 16 weeks. Like, I want them to see, like, oh, he's at day 243, or eventually he's at day 600 and something, but I get to be with him from day 0 to day 112, and I get to see how far I can progress in that time. Like, that's the whole goal for counting. But what's neat is, like, I missed 2 workouts because of working across time zones, and sometimes other things are more important, right? Life is a balance. But even with that, I still continue my streak because it's 243 days since I started. And maybe that's a useful way for you to start your own fitness streak. I know some of you may have set, you know, what is it, New Year's resolutions? Well, it's January 25th, bub. It's likely a good portion of those resolutions have already popped. You went to the gym for, I don't know, 10 days in a row. Life happened. You got in your head at it's day 0 again. Got in your head a second day, third day. Gave it another go, got a 5-day streak. Missed a day. Took another 5 days off. Right? And you keep restarting the clock. Starting over. And from a head game perspective, your progress gets lost in that churn of perceived failure. Like, every day that you go, that's a win. And that's awesome. And the wins can stack even when there's a pause or a step backwards. You're better off that you did go, even if you missed it a couple days later. Right? You can always keep going. But you don't have to tell yourself it's day 0 every time life happens. But the completionist in us, at least in me, feels that way. So anyway, friends, I've run for 0.6 miles, and when I woke up this morning, I was mentally excluding myself from even being able to come out here and do something. You know, I've had some hamstring discomforts. I missed my legs day lift. I didn't do a recovery run. I got a long run on Monday, maybe. I just had this toxic mindset of you should just skip it again because it's not safe for you to run, Joe, because you missed 2 days. Your legs must have forgotten how to move. It's like, no, I think they're doing okay. Or here's the other fun one, like, oh, you ordered Uber Eats twice this week. You went out to eat twice. You're heavier, so you can't run, which is also kind of bogus. Like, I've still been on lock with my breakfast. My lunches have been decent. And for dinner, this was a week where saving time was more important. But maybe we can get back into cooking and making everything healthy every time. But right now, like, I gotta run with the choices I made this week. And those choices shouldn't exclude me from being able to wake up and get out here and do something good for myself. But it's a talk track. Yeah, we gotta fight every day. Tell ourselves we're worthy of progress and achievement and all these other good things. Whew. Alright. So one of the things I actually want to work now is walking. And the reason being, what I'm finding with my aggravated hamstring glute region is running and walking. They hit different things, different muscle groups. And actually, walking seems to aggravate the hamstring a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is hit a couple deadlifts right here. So let's do one. One, squeeze the butt. 2 and 3. Tuck the tailbone, hold the core, lean forward, and I'm gonna walk. And the reason walking compared to running seems to work my hamstring more from a form perspective. This is something I don't fully understand yet. For those of you who are like, what's a hamstring? Sorry, a hamstring's like this muscle on the back of your thigh. If you're like, what's a thigh? Go back to school, okay? But no. So when I walk from a gait perspective, which is just how you walk or the stride you have, walking, my stride's normally a little longer and I land with my feet in front of my center of mass. So rather than landing under my body, like under the center of my body, my foot lands in front of my body, and then my hamstring tightens and kind of like a rubber band, like pulls my leg forward and rolls it over my foot. And then you push off the foot, and that pulling motion right at impact, like when the heel touches, whew, that's when I feel it. So I'm gonna walk briskly to try to open that up. But when I run, my feet land under me, so I don't have that same pulling motion. It's just a gait thing. How gozaimasu. That guy's amazing. That's my OG son. He's a fluffy dude, a little big like me. I mean that in all love. And I love seeing him get out here in the morning, taking his walks. Yeah, one of the things I'm working on right now, as you kind of feel that little is which last couple weeks it's been a little challenging. I haven't decided if I'm working core enough or not too much, but having a good engaged core during my workouts has been a little tricky. So that's part of it from a form perspective. The other part is favoring that hamstring on the left side. So we're gonna walk out to the 2.5 mile marker or so, and then I'm gonna see if I could jog back to the water. But we're already at just about 6 o'clock, so timing is going well. Kids are sleeping. My wife passed out on the couch. She's super pregnant, so it's getting to be that time where, like, unfortunately everything's uncomfortable and hard. She's not sleeping well. I mean, I don't know who can sleep well when you're getting kicked and something's pressing up on all your organs and stuff. Pregnancy is a wild process. It's amazing. Let's hit another deadlift. Maybe I'll do a deadlift and into a squat. Oh, I don't like the squat. Deadlift. Squat. Deadlift. Squat. Well, what's nice for me, I don't know if you can see it because GoPro's struggling low light, is I am starting to see some of that proverbial sunrise in the distance. Just the hints of deep reds and oranges. Taking the sky from black to navy blue. It's beautiful. Whew. But happy I'm out here. Thanks for listening to me rant and process through all my feelings. You know, I'm like, how do I just like get in the right headspace for fitness again, holistically? 2 days missed and all mental fortitude washed away. It's amazing. It's amazing how my brain tries to sabotage anything. But for me, the way I operate, like, I don't operate in this like block it out, shut up brain, you're dumb. For me, I really have to like try to understand the root of like, where's that feeling coming from? And how do I process it? How do I like give myself space to feel the dread or the demotivation, to kind of like get cozy with that insecurity and then be like, well, what can I do? Right? Like, where's there a truthiness in that feeling? And where are there lies, right? And then I start to like peel apart the layers and, you know, get things going. Because if you have that feeling, but there's also, you know, the edge of an injury or legitimate pain or other issues, like, I'm not, in my age, with my body type, it's very dangerous for me to just block all of that out, go into machine mode, tell my body it's dumb and push. No, that's how I get very, very hurt. And that puts me back 2-3 weeks with an injury. So like, I always try to work out with some level of body awareness and like emotional, mental awareness of where I'm going. Like, actually, we just walked past where I thought I was gonna turn around because I'm like, oh, I feel kind of good. Let's light this thing up. Let's keep going a little bit, you know? So that's kind of one piece of it, is you have to, at least for me, at my age, it's good to have a second gear. I have that. But I want to give myself space to be like, why do I feel like I suck? Why do I feel like my aspiration of running 3 to 4 half marathons this year is dumb and going to fail, and I shouldn't even consider something like that because running's unsafe and unhealthy for me because I'm too big and I'm gonna be big forever? Like, where does that whole string of like chaotic, self-deprecating thought life come from? And how do we see that, experience that, and then be like, well, what if we just jog? Right? And then you get to the stairs and you're breathing kind of heavy and you're like, well, today's not about that. It's like, what if we just walk? And what if we just find a rhythm that feels kind of nice? So we just walk a little more, right? Our body gets warmed up so we're not too cold. You know, what if we just say nice things about ourselves? What happens then, you know? So that's where I'm at. I share all that because I anticipate that other folks struggle the same way in their journey. And unfortunately, a lot of the things we see on YouTube and Instagram and all these spaces, like, there are people that have the ability to lock it in. They're very diligent, disciplined, have great grades. Some of them have good genetics. Some of them have supplemental help. But we see all these things, and if that's where our normative fitness culture is shaped by, that's what we see, that's what we think we should look like, that's how we think we should always exercise, it doesn't really give us room to experience all these other thoughts and work with it, wrestle with it, and move forward from it. And that's why I think we start programs and we quit programs, because we get hung up in all those different things. It's hard. I literally just think fitness is too hard. And then when someone presents it as something that's totally attainable with unrealistic expectations for folks that'll never reach that, like, of course people give up. So I got a lot of compassion in that space. This seems like a good halfway point. Let me look at the overall distance. Oh. Yeah, if we do this, this will be exactly 2.5 miles, which is what I wanted. So let's jog. Let me do a deadlift. I was a little eager. Let's wiggle the knees. Kick the butt back, squeeze at the top. Beautiful moon tonight. Wow. Is it full? Who knows? All right. Tuck the core, lean forward, land with my feet under my body. So again, different mechanics. So I tend to run with core and back taut or engaged. I tend to run slow. I tend to try to keep my feet landing. Not always perfect at this, but I try to keep my feet landing with them under my center of mass. So like, if you took all the weight of my body, consolidated it into one point, where would that point be on the X plane? Try to have my feet land under or slightly behind them. How good that was. And the reason being, if we draw a free body diagram, y'all are like, what a nerd. How good that was. Free body diagram, you just look at any object and you consider that object existing in space as a system. And based on physics, if it's not moving, then you assume that all the forces on it in the X and Y direction have to be equal if it's not moving. But based on Newton's, is it first law, second law? F equals ma, baby, right? Your force equals your mass times an acceleration. So if the object's moving, then that means that your forces in the X and Y direction aren't equal. There's an imbalance, which is equal to the mass of that object times whatever its acceleration is. It's brilliant. It's a great equation. It's awesome. But basically, from a running perspective, if we draw a free body diagram, if you're trying to run fast, you say you're trying to think this to your feet landing in front of your center of mass, and for you really leveraging muscular efficiency from your hamstrings and your glutes and your quads and all that, and you can go fast and run hard, that's totally fine. If you're trying to maximize distance at a mellower pace and trying to reduce impact on your joints, which if you're heavier set or have injuries like me, I have both going for me, then having your feet land under or slightly behind the center of mass is really a lot gentler of a style, and it enables you to go farther safer. And that's really the goal of long distance, is how far can we go? No, we're all busy people, we got stuff to do. So that's kind of the balance you have to find, is like the right pacing, the right form for each workout of a given day. And that's why in my training program, like, or my protocol, I don't go long every day. I'm too freaking busy. But for me, especially because I work across time zones and stuff, days are a great day for me to wake up at 4 a.m. and lock in a 2-hour long run. Because a lot of times my US partners don't start to engage me until Monday night. I do a lot of content creation on Monday during the day. It's kind of my creative flow day. So because of that, it's kind of the best day for me to do the long run with good form, mellow pace, lock it in. And then the other days I do strength work, or I do a short run, which is actually what I've turned today into, so about 2.5 miles. Or I'll do what's called a fartlek. Funny name, terrible workout. It's also a little on the shorter side, but with a fartlek, what's cool, I can get my feet landed in front of my body. So what you do is, it's basically like just interval training. If you apply some of that running, how I must. So I want to do a low interval, high interval, low interval, high interval. And the magic is how you set all those levels and how you build into it. So the way I do it, and there's ways to do it, I run low intensity for a minute, and I lock that in as a normative half marathon pace. Feet landed under my body. Feet landed under or slightly behind my body. Nice and mellow. Should be a casual talking pace. We'll get to why in a minute. And then for the upper intervals, in the beginning, I used to just do 1 minute high interval, which would be a faster jog. Start to open up my stride, so my feet are stretching a little farther in front and behind me, and using all that muscular strength to land with my feet in front of me and pull me over my foot, so it's not as efficient. Whew. And I do a minute high and then a minute low. In the beginning, I used to walk the low interval, the high interval. And what I've started to move towards is what I call variable intervals. Let's walk for a minute. Deadlift. Feeling my left knee's been just a little grumpy, so feeling a little bit of a catch or a grind in it. So I want to get everything moving well and pull the impact out. So great time, 6:13. Good start to the day. Man, that moon is awesome. Huh? But what I started doing with my fartleks, which, whew, it sucks. And on the half marathon program, I didn't start doing this until I think like week 8 maybe, is I turned them into variable intervals. So every recovery was set at 1 minute, low intensity half marathon pace, because I built up to that. And then every high interval started at 30 seconds, then low, 1 minute, then low, minute 30, 2, 2:30, 3, and I started pyramiding it. So I'd go up to 3.5, 3, 2.5, all the way back down to 30 seconds. So each workout now, I do an interval, and I keep increasing the duration of the upper interval. I use a stopwatch. The great thing about a stopwatch is like, it really turns the workout into a, I'll be a little vulgar, it turns it into like a F your feelings kind of thing. Like, time is time. Time keeps moving. Are you moving? Like, on an interval training, a stopwatch, how can I was on interval training, a stopwatch creates honesty, right? And what's great about honesty is you can't fake it or pretend to be doing better than you are. You can't rush results. You literally, each week, you look at what you did last week and you consider, can we make it to what we did last week? Can we maintain that? Can we add an extra interval? Should we stretch beyond? But like, it eliminates the ability to cheat. That said, there's been some fartleks and some things that have happened where I was like halfway through it, something was rubbing the wrong way, something with posture was just off enough that I was like, we're in the ego space here, friend. And, you know, pulled it back, dropped it down to just a light jog the rest of the way, dropped it down to a walk, dropped it down to a walk jog pace. Well, on the good days, it really helps push you. But the wonderful thing, let's see, these are kicking my butt. That left knee feels a little wonky. Beautiful thing about the fartlek pace, though, is when you set the lower interval at half marathon pace, something magic happens when you do your long runs. Well, it's not magic, it's science, but the intent of a fartlek your endurance, but also like you're challenging your rate of recovery, which is still cardiovascular endurance, right? So you're trying to see, I'm at this high interval, everything's pumping, everything's moving. Can I drop and control breathing, heart rate, equalize, recover, so I'm ready for the next hit, right? That's like the magic of it. If you do plyometrics or crap like that, it's the same kind of game, right? How many sets can you get through before you're just dog tired? And not functional. Everyone's got like a break point in those spaces. But what's cool about setting the low interval at your half marathon trottle pace, as I call it, is you're always training your body to settle from a cardiovascular perspective into that pace. So for me, because I'm not running for speed, I'm running for distance, it allows a half marathon pace in some ways to always be attainable, even if something occurs as an interruption in that run. You know, I roll my ankle and have to pop up and walk it off and then get back into it, or there's a hill's a big example, or stairs, or I started to get impatient and started running fast, you know, at a pace I can't hold the rest of the way back. When those things happen, your heart rate peaks, and then you start to like struggle. And normally when it happens, if you're not trained in it, from a fartlek, for instance, like when you start to peak out like that, you then want to drop into a stop or walk, you know, put your hands on your hips, lean back, breathe heavy, and be like, right? Like, everything sucks. I've made a terrible mistake. I'm not gonna make it. All the headspace stuff comes with the posture. Whereas what the fartlek trains up is our recovery is we take a couple good breaths, we get control, we lock our abs, lock our lower back, have a mellow tilt, gradual pace, land safe with feet, breathe it out, and settle into that pace and into that rhythm safely. You know, or on a fartlek that goes sideways, we settle into a walk with good form and still, you know, a robust pace. So that every step is safe, every step is good. We get control. We get control over our body and over our rhythm. And I think it's a part of people's training. Well, I think it's a gap in a lot of people's training because it sucks, which is why I threw it in DadBod, because I hate them. Every Friday, I hate that workout. But then on Saturday, I lift. Sunday, I recover and play Beat Saber and do some foam rolling. And when I get to that Monday, when I have to run up these stairs on mile 6, right near the end of things, I typically have the endurance for it, where I'm breathing heavy. It's hard, I'm pushing, stairs suck. I got the last 5 miles I ran trying to drag me back. But when I get to the top, I could take those breaths, lock core, embrace the suck a little bit, but safely, and hold tempo and pace, and get control. And that's like the secret sauce around it, in my opinion, is how do you settle back into control. Because if you're an athlete, high school, even college athlete, and you're working towards some kind of physical aesthetic as your goal, like, it's all about like intensity, training for speed, training to win. As you slip into adulthood and you start looking at doing half marathons and 5Ks, maybe marathons, as a way to stay active and healthy, you start adjusting your metrics of success around pace and form. Holding the right pace is more important than going as hard as you can. Because if you go as hard as you can on a long distance run, your pace is going to be super variable based on whatever terrain you're running on. Uphill, downhill, gravel, pavement, stairs. Your heart rate's going to be everywhere, and you'll have no control. And you may be able to push through those limits, run hard every time, get faster and faster every time. But likely, if you're entering early middle-aged, 30s, 40s, that kind of behavior, you're gonna feel it in your hips, your knees, your back. You're gonna pull a muscle. Then you're gonna get into what we started talking about at the start of this run, into the, oh no, I broke my 2.5 week streak because my knee hurts too bad for me to walk around the house. Oh, I wish progress wasn't this hard. Oh, and I'm back on it. I missed 3 days, but I'm back on it. Oh, I'm hurt again. Something's wrong with this knee. Maybe I don't know what's going on. And you get in these loops and then you quit. So a lot of DadBod just helping you reframe so that you can have the right expectations of pacing, progress, diligence, and not put that ego to sleep, man. Give it a nap. Start adjusting the rate at which you think you'll get better. Because if you could do that and focus more on diligence and discipline over a long period of time with consistency rather than that sprinting mentality, you actually get somewhere, I think. My life has been wrought with pain physically. I have 2 compressed discs in my back. I had really terrible sciatica, which is numbness from my right hip all the way down to my knee. Things lock out on me with pain. I mean, at the worst, I was able to sleep 2.5 to 3 hours max per night. Just because of the pain. Flip over, pain, flip over. Couldn't roll out of bed. I'd go out and try to run with bad form, make it worse. I did years of physical therapy, and it just helped me understand my body's mechanics, how all this stuff works and connects. Had a virtual coach, Moose Boot. He's a streamer on Twitch and friend. He started laying out strength workouts. Had another physical therapist in Japan. First one was in the US. Started figuring out how all this stuff works together. Started learning about nutrition. Nutrition's still a gap. Now, the path to health and wellness. I will say, the path to health and wellness, it's not as linear as some of you folks may think. It's a winding journey. It's very ambiguous. But it's part of life. And once you start being aware of the process, once you start learning how to respect and honor your body while still challenging it, you can progress things along really well. Most nights I can sleep through the night without waking up in pain. I'm not getting monthly epidural shots in my back for pain like I was doing, because I figured out how to run with good form, figured out how to train back and core, figured out how to find the edge of challenge and safe, and I showed up for myself for 242 days. And it's an honor and a privilege to bring you into that journey. Nice. What a good run, man. Things opened up a little bit. Nice pacing, nice form. Coming back from a 2-day gap. Oh, yeah.